My absolutely beautiful Libra friends, and welcome to your horoscope for 2025, where Libra, let me just tell you, from one Venusian gal to another Venusian energy, this video is built to be a delicious 2025 experience for you. I don't want you to just put it on and have a bunch of noise, okay? This is built for you to be an experience dance within what you're getting in terms of this information, because I've brought not only myself but 4 other expert astrologers in their realm of astrology to talk about the different departments of life for you all year long and give you a take to be able to grow with where the energy is naturally going for you, to outgrow and to work through the challenges that are there. So listen, Libra, I'm going to really encourage you, be like Venus. Receive this information, give yourself a space and a time, grab your cocoa, grab your cafe, grab what you need to have an experience with this video, okay? Now, if we haven't met before, I'm practicing professional astrologer Stormie Grace, and I am a humanistic and an evolutionary astrologer. And I have also invited on with me Miss Rachel Lang, who's going to take care of you in relationship astrology. Sama is doing delicious financial astrology work to help you. We have got Miss Kira Sutherland, who is going to be bringing you in that medical magic of how to walk with that. And Tiffany Harelik is going to take care of us with that spiritual advancement and development astrology. So you have got the goods in this video. That's what I want you to know from the jump, okay? Now, Libra, I do have some extra additional resources and goods for you. If you do not have your 2025 digital transit calendar, click in the description box down below. Get it. It brings the transits right to your phone, to your device, to your smartwatch every single day in your time zone, so that you can plan, you can see how to work with the astrology that's around you and really bring it into your body, live this thing. And if you are ready in 2025 to speak the language of astrology, come on into my courses. I would love to have you. I would love to teach you astrology. I would love to take your astrology to the next level. So click on down there and I will see you in class. All right, Libra, into 2025. Now, first of all, we've got Neptune and Saturn moving into the vibration of Aries, bringing big impact to your relationships, really pushing you and giving you a space to work on what you have built a lot in last year, which is, urging you to establish your boundaries in your relationships and then hold them, because it's about deeper connection. It's not going to be about pushing someone out, keeping you in. It's about deeper connection is what you're going to be going for. Saturn's going to help bring that grounding influence, and Neptune will bring a nice ideal of what do I want this to look like, right? Now, we're also going to see that Uranus is going to move into Gemini and Libra. This is going to be, we're going to really get into it, but this is going to be the place where you have to stop just learning and having knowledge, and you have to bring that forward into the form of wisdom and deliver it. I am really excited to see what you are going to do with it. The bones of 2024, what you built there, what you learned there, they are very good. Now let's build upon them here in 2025, however haltingly we need to go. All right, Libra, let's jump in here and see what these transits are doing all year long. Okay, Libra, so yes, 2025 has your attention on these relationships, especially with Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries. We've just recently, we're not fully even out of the Libra Aries axis, so there's still a bit of work going on there. But let's take a look at the essential dates to watch for to see how these planets are going to help you in the arrangement of your relationships and connections. Now, first and foremost, as we are moving through 2025, we want to keep in mind that Pluto is going to be giving us all that Pluto has to offer in Aquarius. So we're here for the long stay, and this lights up your 5th house space. So first of all, wherever Pluto is at, we are looking at themes that really have to do with transformation. But in the 5th house, this is about joy, pleasure, play, creativity, romance, self-expression, and certainly things having to do with children or around children. And I also want you to think about this, Libra, from the position of you being the child of your parents, right? Whereas in the 4th house, we see the parents and things that are happening around your family members or your roots, but you as someone's child. So think about that as you're watching your year unfold. But Pluto here is about this period of where you are getting a really massive overhaul in your approach to your self-expression. How are you expressing yourself? How are you putting yourself out there? What are you doing with your creativity? And really interesting new concepts around romance for you. So the encouragement here is to delve a little bit deeper into any one of these areas. Go deeper into your creative passion. Maybe, you're really using that to reshape how you find joy in the world and how you express yourself. So there is an intense set of inner and intense connections that's going to be happening for you, kind of rewiring this area, but it pushes you to explore what's authentic for you. What's authentic, what's creative. If you're being creative, you're likely being authentic. And then how does this play out into the other areas of your life, like your romantic connections? So I would really encourage you, as we walk with Pluto, that is changing the entire landscape of the globe as well, find your creativity and try and find your voice. And if this is actually showing up for your children or around children, remember, creativity is usually authenticity. Okay? All right. Now we are also coming into 2025 with the brakes on. Mars is retrograde in that vibration of Leo, lighting up your 11th house space. Okay. So listen. Mars is our get up and go planet, and it has gotten up and it has gone. It's facing backwards. So we are in a heavy reevaluation of the area of your friendships, your social networks, the organizations you're attached to, of course, social media, technology, but also, Libra, your long-term aspirations, not your ambitions, your aspirations for yourself. So, Mars is still Mars. We have to realize that while we're re-looking at this area, we're looking at it from the lens of making a reassessment of if we have tension, if we have conflict, if we have poison somewhere in one of our grouping dynamics. And that's where you may see that there's conflict arising, or you're feeling frustrated with your role in a certain social circle, right? But remember that this transit is not just about slowing us down. It's about slowing us down and encouraging you to reflect on whether your current associations, whether your current friendships, whether your current social media plan really aligns with the aspirations you have for yourself in the future. So maybe this even looks like you're going back and you're revisiting old friendships or old organizations, or dealing with some set of unresolved issues in your social life. And the point at the end of this is to bring greater clarity. Now, it is still a Mars retrograde. So if I were you, I would avoid making really drastic changes in this particular area of your life during this retrograde. Instead, focus in on understanding what are your needs, what are your desires, what kind of networks do you want to be a part of? Because this is a time to redefine that so that as Mars goes direct, you can really take good action. Now, just a day later on January 7th, Mars is actually going to push that retrograde back into Cancer, so back into your 10th house space. So now you're revisiting the career, the public image. You're revisiting any issues you have with authority figures, okay? And to include the stories you tell yourself about what is right, what makes you right, what makes the world right. Mars retrograde here is going to bring your attention to all of that. So if you're feeling at the beginning of the year a little bit of a lack of momentum, especially in any kind of career projects, or you're facing these challenges with authority figures, this period, especially as Mars is going back here in Cancer, is just asking you to reevaluate, one, your ambitions here and how you approach leadership. This is giving you the opportunity, Libra, to reconsider your professional path, to refine how you'd like to present yourself to the world. Now, what I don't think that this period, again, going all the way until February 23rd, is the best for is launching a new career project or making some really significant professional change. I think that if waiting until Mars goes direct is going to be a better energy in your interest. Now, that will depend too. If Mars is retrograde in your natal chart, this is actually a better period for you to be moving in an outward way than keeping everything internal. So make sure you check that in your chart. Now, when we get to January 11th, we're going to see that the true North Node shifts into the vibration of Pisces. And we'll see that South Node move into Virgo. This lights up both your 6th and your 12th house axes. So this next year, moving into 2026, is about service. It's focus on service. It's focus on the daily routines. It's about letting go of perfectionism. It is about balancing this place where I have to do the work, Virgo, that South Node, and I have to let the universe take the wheel, right? It's a place where we want the intersection to come together. So that North Node in Pisces in your 6th house, it is this call, this destiny encouragement to embrace compassion. And it's compassion to how you approach your health, including your mental health and wellness. You're an air sign. How are you talking to yourself? How's the space between your ears? Sometimes that can be very dangerous territory, right? So how is it going up there in your mind, and what are you doing to keep it healthy? What's happening in your daily work flow, the daily routine you have set up in your life to make sure that you are functioning really well and you can get up and go out of your life and be of service to other people because you are well taken care of. Now, both of these signs really emphasize the importance of service and having some kind of routine in your life, right? But it needs to come from a place that is not only helpful and a bit more selfless, but it's really steeped in that you're connected enough to a routine that keeps you healthy, that you're available to participate that way. Because at the South Node in Virgo, in that 12th house space, it is asking you to really, first of all, release the perfectionism. You're never going to have the most perfect spiritual practice, right? That's like never going to be the thing. You're never going to have the most spiritual, perfect 12-step program. You're never going to have the most spiritual, perfect research project behind the scenes, right? There's a space of very Virgo tendencies for over-analysis. And then you take that analysis and analysis paralysis and put it in the 12th house space. And now we have a space where there's a tendency towards self-isolation. And it's overly done at this South Node space. And that's going to limit your ability to connect meaningfully with other people. We can't serve others if we're not around them. So as you're experiencing this particular transit, I would invite you to embrace a daily routine that really does reflect you being compassionate to yourself while also having a willingness to serve yourself and others, and focus on building that balance between that inner spiritual life and the responsibilities that you need to meet in the grounded real world. When we get to March 1st, Venus is going to take a retrograde in Aries, and here we go, crack-a-lacking into the 7th house. The relationships are on, okay? So as Venus is going to go retrograde, first of all, I want to say this out the gate. I would avoid making any major relationship commitments or changing relationship statuses during a Venus retrograde, because oftentimes what happens is, you make some big decision, Venus comes direct, and within a couple of days, you're like, that was not the right move for me, right? That was not the right move for me. Instead, this is going to be a time where your attention is being brought to partnerships and romantic connections, because it's not just romantic partnerships. This is business. This is you and a higher power, you with yourself. So this period with Venus is to reevaluate not only the balance and the harmony in the current relationships that you have, but reflecting on whether or not they bring you value. What's the value that they have? So like every retrograde, if it's a time to revisit something that's unresolved, especially in a conscious chosen one-on-one relationship, or you need to connect to something about a past partnership, this is a chance that we're going to have to reflect and to, kind of do the healing of that wound. Really, it's more about getting clarity about your needs and your boundaries along with your values in relationships. So you'll be doing that all the way through April. March 14th brings us to our first eclipse of the year, the full moon lunar eclipse, and that's happening in Virgo, so lighting up the 12th house space. Now, this eclipse is an eclipse. You will be wiped out. This area will be reset for you, and it has to be reset because it's the only way that we can embrace the opportunity to see something from a different perspective, right? So this eclipse, all in all, is going to invite you to create space for renewal, spiritual renewal. And from that spiritual renewal is going to be emotional freedom, right? So in the area, especially emotionally, where you have subconscious, unconscious, hidden fears, past patterns that are not serving you anymore, you may be feeling called to let those go, to remove the attachments that those have on you because they're holding you back from growing. So it's really an ideal time to look at where you need to make a pivot with something behind the scenes. Is it time to get that sponsor and work the steps? Is it time to go into treatment? Is it time to take that medication? Is it time to do that creative project? Is it time? What is it time for behind the scenes? Either way, this will be a period, I think, as we travel through 2025, Libra, where you have got a spiritual awakening right right here at your fingertips, right? And that doesn't always come easy, but it will allow you to close chapters in your life that no longer make any sense for you to still be living anymore. March 29th brings us to the new moon solar eclipse, and this one's going to be in Aries. So we have done a lot of work in the Aries Libra axis. You have been involved in that. So now at this particular new moon solar eclipse, it's a time to plant your seeds of intention for the fresh starts in relationships. You have done a lot of work here. So, while this offers an ideal moment to plant those seeds of intention or to begin new partnerships or to begin partnerships anew, whether that is, you're like, I'm really seeking a new relationship, or you're like, I just need to straighten out this existing one. Whatever your definition of healthy partnership is, this eclipse is about aligning your relationships with what you've learned about your goals, your boundaries, and your values over this last year. March 30th brings Neptune into Aries. Look, the 7th house is so busy, Libra. So Neptune coming through your 7th house. First of all, it brings a dreamy, idealistic feel to it. We love that, right? But what we can see from it, first of all, is that you may feel a lot more drawn to connections they're deeper. You're seeking deeper. You're like, I need a spiritual connection in this partnership. I need to be in partnerships of every variety that really resonate with my soul, right? But the one thing we have to be mindful of, and this is going to be a long transit with Neptune, is that Neptune's influence can blur boundaries very easily. So you're over idealizing something or someone. There are misunderstandings. There are misunderstandings because there's expectations in relationships. So the trick here, I think, is going to be not the trick, the practice is going to be to stay mindful of maintaining healthy boundaries, really avoiding to the best of our abilities, right? We're human, avoiding those unrealistic expectations in partnerships and focus on building relationships that instead you blur the lines of logic. You allow there to be a space where you say, I choose to fight for compassion. I choose to fight for empathy. I choose to fight for shared values in my relationships. And that is the thing that is going to align your connections and partnerships with that spiritual growth that Neptune's trying to bring to the table. Now, with all that dreamy energy at the table, we need a little grounding, and Saturn on May 24th is going to move into the vibration of Aries and help ground some of this energy. Saturn coming into the 7th house gets serious groundedness and maturity into your relationship. So Saturn here is going to encourage you to take a much more disciplined approach to your partnerships, like set those clear boundaries, define the mutual responsibilities in your relationships, right? And so the thing is, when Saturn shows up, we usually do it without having to be pushed, right? We feel called to deepen our commitment to our partnerships. We feel called to reevaluate our connections to say, does this really have stability and long-term potential and purpose or not? So use this energy to strengthen those partnerships, really stick to those boundaries, okay? It's just such a good period for building these really significant relationships in your life. Now, June 9th brings us into Jupiter coming back for the first time in 12 years to Cancer, to this 10th house space. And this is so optimistic. It's growth, right? Like I don't want to over deliver here, over promise on Jupiter, but there is a fair amount of optimism about it. But there's also growth. And the only way that we can really demonstrate growth and wisdom is through going through experiences. And experiences are very experience-y, right? So this is going to be in the area of your career, your public image, your reputation, your soul level calling. We see you do this in public. We call you this name in public. So this transit can bring new professional opportunities or a real increase in your recognition publicly, or maybe you want to expand your influence in a chosen field. And that's great. What you feel inspired to pursue in your career and for your career goals, as long as it aligns with your personal values and it leads you to this space where you feel nurtured and secure and really fulfilled in this professional life, that's a great place to go. But remember that just because it's the place that fulfills you and is in alignment with your values doesn't mean that everybody else around you is going to actually be on your squad. So what Jupiter here can also do is bring the experiences of realizing that you are going to expand or grow or outgrow some of the people that are around you. They are not going to like who you're becoming, Libra, and that is okay as well. Hold those boundaries, okay? Now, Jupiter is going to come into a square with Saturn June 15th, and then just a couple days later on June 19th, Jupiter will square against Neptune. So the story of this energy, especially this weekend, we will cover it in the weeklies, is going to be that, it's the tension between your career ambitions and that public ambition and your commitment in relationships. So there's the push-pull dynamic of Jupiter, who wants to step on the gas, and Saturn, who's like, pump those brakes. Okay. So, you're looking to create this harmony between that career goal and those partnerships. But again, it comes with setting boundaries that allow you to pursue them both. You're striving to find a balance that honors both your career and those relationships. And now as Neptune gets involved, this gets a little bit more dreamy, because now it's not just professional ambition, it's aspiration. And that can live a little bit more in the head. And so you're creating an unrealistic expectation of yourself in these arenas, right? Like unrealistic expectations with partnerships or blurred boundaries in your professional relationships. So you want to use this time to not only align your professional dreams with the direction you want to go, but put a grounded approach to both the professionalism and to the relationships, because they both need to end up supporting you long term if you're really going to take advantage of not getting squished by that tension. July 7th brings us to Uranus in Gemini, and this is as electric as it sounds. And for you, this massive innovative energy coming to your belief sector. Expect the unexpected changes to your literal worldview, right? What you have thought of the world, what you thought was true for a very long time, new information being presented to you that is changing your entire belief structure, your philosophy, the faith you have in the world, right? And it may really be surprising to you, because it's like information gets revealed to you that you're like, my whole life, I thought it was this thing over here, and it's really this thing over here. So literally, your approach to learning and to information is going to be swapped during this transit to your 9th house, which is all about faith, belief, publishing, marketing, broadcasting, higher education, travel, philosophies, right? So I would invite you to go with this transit, right? Be encouraged to explore unconventional philosophies. Go someplace, travel someplace spontaneously. And remember, travel today doesn't just mean you have to get in the plane, train, or automobile. Travel today is, create a date night with yourself. Get your little cafe and your popcorn and put on YouTube a tour around Indonesia. Go see what Zanzibar looks like. Because these people do these walking tours and things like that now. So we don't always have to leave the living room in order to be able to travel and expand our worldview. So take advantage of it. Embrace the spontaneity of travel and expand your understanding of the world, okay? All right, when we get to July 31st, Saturn and Neptune are in that conjunction in Aries. And these two, one wants to build structure and the other wants to dissolve it down. So literally, this is, again, this idealism of your relationships with your responsibility in relationships. So you're like, I feel inspired to bring my dreams and aspirations to my partnerships. And Saturn is like, I love that for us. But also we need a grounded and realistic approach to how we are going to get this done. So what we're really going for in the end here is the balance between compassion and empathy with practical commitment and boundaries, okay? All right, September brings us back into eclipsing energy, and we've got our next full moon lunar eclipse. This one's happening in Pisces. Now, remember, we did some new moon energy with Pisces in 2024, so now we're at some pivot. We need to change directions. This eclipse is in your 6th house, and this is about ending, acknowledging, or adjusting, and certainly about bringing clarity and closure to areas of your life related to that health, that mental health and wellness, your daily work, your working scenario, just your daily routines in general. So if you are feeling more inspired, or it's bubbling up in you that it is time to release some habits that are really no longer serving your well-being, you've got to resolve these work issues that have been lingering around. This is a powerful time for doing that, because emotionally, this is like asking you to surrender the poison in your emotional life so that you can have that emotional healing. And that'll help you create a balance in your daily life and routine, and realizing there's some things you cannot control. But what you can control and what you can reflect on is how can you improve your work habits and your health routines? What behaviors do you have that you can let go of because they're limiting your growth and your well-being? Do you need help with that? Do you need a mentor? You're like, I don't know how to stop eating this sugar. Where can you put yourself where this eclipse is going to be the perfect kind of encouragement to bring you towards people even who can show you how to do that in a more balanced way, okay? All right. And as we get to September 21st, we've got the new moon solar eclipse. This one is happening in Virgo. Now, remember at the beginning of the year, we eclipsed it with a lunar eclipse. So that was reset. Came through and cleaned house with that one. But now as we're at this new moon solar eclipse, again, this is in your 12th house. So new beginnings in spirituality, setting intentions for that inner growth, inner peace, massive exploration of your subconscious, working on things behind the scenes, okay? So this again is the signal for your fresh start. Plant your seeds of intention. This is the ideal lunation because it's an eclipse for inner growth. For over the next 6 months, focusing on your healing, bringing whatever your type of meditation practice is, because not every Libra needs to sit down and cross your knees and om. Some of you need to walk and breathe and let a meditative flow come into you. But we need that space of self-reflection. So if you're feeling like this is a year where you do want to explore more spiritual practices or connect to yourself more deeply, and you feel like you do need to do that in a little bit of solitude to have that spiritual renewal and introspection, do it. Because this eclipse is going to invite you to take that deep dive, go into that inner world, and certainly do your best in tandem with the divine energy around you and maybe mentorship that can help you go a little bit deeper to cultivate a real sense of surrender, compassion, and healing for yourself in 2025. All right, my beautiful Libras, you've got a lot of relationship work going on this year, so I'm going to pass you over to the beautiful Rachel Lang to walk you through your relationship astrology specifically for 2025.
Hello, Libra. Are you ready for your love and relationship horoscope for 2025? I hope so. I'm Rachel Lang. I'm an astrologer and author and speaker, and I have some good news for you. First of all, last year, the eclipses along the Aries-Libra axis line really put a lot of strain and a lot of pressure on you and your relationships. By last year, I'm talking about 2024, the end of 2023, all through 2024. And come January of 2025, we're in a new cycle. When the South Node is cruising through your sign, it tends to drain your energy. So all of the focus then gets turned to the other people in your life. And the people that you have obligations with, the commitments that you're in. So it can be a time where you're walking that fine line between self and other. In addition to that, Pluto was moving out of Capricorn, and so it was finally easing up some pressure on your sign. Those challenges are in the rearview mirror, but 2025 has its own challenges, and we're going to talk about them in just a second. Let's go ahead and get started right now. Here is my contact information in case you want to reach out if you have any questions or if you'd like to find out more. So here are the big transits for 2025. The first one we start out with is just the outer planets changing signs. And the way that is going to influence our relationships, all of us are going to be having this sense of what's permanent. This isn't a year of creating really solid support beams or structures. It's a year where we are moving from one place to another, one consciousness to another. And the way that our relationships are impacted by that will be in a lot of transition, breakups. I think we're going to see a lot of sudden people suddenly getting together, as if being single for a really long time and then falling in love, people being married for a really long time and it not working out and then making changes and setting forth on a new path. relationships going to the next level. A lot of our ideas about love and relationships are changing. So I think we could also even see some moves toward non-monogamy, toward asexual or aromanticism, the choice to be single. I think our relationships are under a microscope, and we're coming to some self-realization around that. One of the places we see this is that we have Mars retrograde, both going retrograde in the beginning of the year. That kicks us off in 2025, and it says, this is a relationship-focused year. And because the eclipses are all along the Virgo-Pisces axis line, it's a heart-healing year for relationships. So past pain, we're mending that. We're setting up boundaries. Uranus is entering Gemini. So our intellect, our mind is working fast, which means that we might not be as focused on connecting with our lovers or with our partners. And so we are walking that balance between self and other. In also the way technology is changing, it's naturally going to change the way that we're relating to other people. And it might be that you have to be intentional about taking time for your partner or about making time to nurture friendships. One other significant event in the year is Jupiter in Cancer. This happens from July 9th of 2025 until July 9th of 2026. And Cancer is a sign that nurtures our heartstrings, and it gets us thinking about how we can connect with family members, how we can invest in some of those relationships and heal our family connections. But for us, I'm a Libra too, so I'm putting myself in this category. But for us, Cancer can be really tense. It can feel like obligations from others that keep us moving in the career direction or in the life direction, in the public direction that we aim to go in. And so that can be this point of tension that can stretch us in different directions, and it can feel overwhelming. And so there are a lot of opportunities for career growth, for career excellence, but we want to make sure that we're not compromising the enjoyment of our personal lives and our families as a result. We start the year with Mars retrograde. Mars goes retrograde from December 6th of this year, 2024, to February 23rd of 2025. Mars is on the Leo Cancer axis line. And so this is putting some of that pressure on your friendships, and also just the involvement that you do with any kind of community involvement, any kind of volunteerism, or the ways in which you're involved politically in your communities. It's a time of reflecting on, are you using your energy the right way in your public life and in your friendships? And if not, it's time to do some course correcting. And so your friendships are really under the spotlight. Also, your relationships with your stepchildren, adopted children, those are also going through a trial by fire. But the good news is that retrograde cycles, we come out on the other side, and usually we're stronger in those relationships, or we've established the necessary boundaries to be able to create some separation and distance from the relationships that just don't really feel supportive, and to open up space for new relationships that do support not just who we are and where we're going, but also that can hold the space for a genuine connection where we can show up, be authentic, be present. Mars retrograde can be a time when passive aggressive tendencies come out of the woodwork. And so you might notice, because it can be a little bit more challenging, hold the tension of conflict in your own being, this can be a point of contention. So just make sure you're expressing yourself. Just make sure you're talking through things that are troubling you and that are on your mind. The big news for us is that Neptune and Saturn are entering our opposite sign. So Neptune opposite, they're both moving into Aries. They weave in and out. The springtime and the summer are particularly highlighted for this. When Neptune opposes your sign, one thing that happens is that you get swept up into what could be instead of really being mindful about what you can change in the here and now. And this is going to play out in our relationships. It's a time when you take a real clear look at your partner, at your business partner, at your romantic partner, and you are aware of what isn't working, of the sticky points, of the dreams that didn't come together and manifest, of all the ways that you're disappointed. And that's all for a purpose. It's for the purpose of opening your heart, expanding your capacity to love. Neptune comes in like a healing tidal wave and clears away the debris of the past, the guilt, the regrets, the pain points that have happened because of challenging relationships where your partner didn't have your best interest at heart. And so Neptune comes in and, as a healer. And it's important when we're in these Neptune cycles that we don't rush into any conclusions or any decisions, especially if they involve leaving a marriage or having a breakup or something where you've been really invested in a commitment. Neptune shows us our dreams, but it also shows us if we can dream it and we can imagine it, we can make it happen. And so see how you can apply that to your current relationships and how you can reorient yourself in those to experience more love. Saturn is about commitment, and Saturn is the hard work. So it says relationships could actually be hard work, but if you are single, this is good news for you because we don't go through hard work alone. That we go through hard work either because we're on the path to falling in love and being partnered, or because we have a partner who we're doing the work with. And so relationships are your evolutionary theme this year. Venus, your ruling planet, is retrograde from March 1st to April 12th. And it's in your opposite sign, Aries, and then it goes back into Pisces. Venus, in general, is not happy in Aries. Aries is a selfish oriented planet. Selfish in the best possible sense of the word, as in, how can I love myself more? How can I express myself more? And so your call to action during this Venus retrograde is to use your voice, express yourself, and don't be afraid to speak up if something is bothering you in your relationships. Aries is also the sign that is about self-love. And how many times do you put yourself on the back burner for someone else's needs or someone else's preferences? This retrograde, and actually the whole first part of the year, says you don't get to do that this time. You, of all signs, have to look in the mirror, identify what do you desire, what do you crave, get in touch even with your physical cravings, your physical body. And instead of talking yourself out of them or thinking this is what I should want or this is what is going to be the easiest, you have to bring it back in and really lean into and live in your truth. We have the eclipses in March and in September. And that March 29th eclipse in particular, I'm going to speed ahead to that one. This is an eclipse that puts a lot of fire underneath you. This is an eclipse with all of these points in Aries. And that's the sun and the moon. Mercury is retrograde in Aries, Chiron and Eris. And so here we have a whole lot of waves of energy pushing against you, asking you to assert yourself. And so this could play out in conflicts with others. This could play out in just warring factions within yourself, wanting to do this and this, trying to figure out how to make a decision, what decision to make. And if you don't know, that means it's not time. That means there's still more of the story to unfold, and you will know by September, by that eclipse. Also, Venus is right here between the North Node and Neptune, And this is a lovely place for your ruling planet. She is hugged by purpose and by dreams and imagination. So this is a very spiritual time. It's a time when you can connect with someone in an altruistic way or in a way that transcends your time and space and the limits of time and space. So you could very easily fall in love with another person, fall in love with your partner. This is a romantic aspect. And this is also a time when it would be acceptable. The doorways are open for you to bring someone into your life. Not that it's going to be the easiest relationship or the easiest start to the relationship, but it's meaningful, it's purposeful. This is really a moment of destiny for you. And we have Mars right there challenging your sign. We've got all that Aries influence challenging your sign, but we've got Pluto and Jupiter both in harmonious air sign placements, saying, Jupiter says, here's some good news. Here's some good luck. Here's an opportunity. And Pluto says, not only is it an opportunity, it's an opportunity with staying power. Pluto opposite Mars. I'm putting this in everyone's chart just so that we can be aware. February and March are a buildup of lots of retrograde movement, which means some confusion, which means some missed connections, which means we need to be aware of how we're communicating with one another and be honest with ourselves and others. But April can be a little bit dramatic, and Mars is in Leo. So passion levels rise, romance rise. And if you're single, this can be very good news for you. Leo is a friendly sign, and it could also indicate that someone who is in your social circle comes into your life in a more meaningful way. Friends with benefits becomes a little bit more than that. The influence of Pluto adds for some fireworks. And so we want to make sure we're not investing ourselves or distracting ourselves with other people's dramas. Then Jupiter moves through Gemini on its way to Cancer. From early 2025 until July 2025, you still have Jupiter blessing your sign, and it's opening up doorways of opportunity, but you have to be discerning of what to say yes to and what not to. When Jupiter gets into Cancer July 9th, and it stays there until July 29th, that's when things start to, we talked about that at the beginning. That's when you've got a little bit of tension from your home life and from your career, and the pull toward starting a project or doing something that is more of your own legacy in the world, your own image in the world, versus your family commitments and the relationships with your partner. This can be a moment of tension. To mediate that tension is to really focus on Jupiter's opening up doors for you. Go where the doors are opening. And when you're with your loved ones, be present. Keep your heart open. This is not a time to close off, even if you feel overwhelmed. Or if you're dating and you have multiple people in your life and you're trying to figure out, what do I do? Keep yourself open and really trust your intuition, which means trusting your gut, listening to your heart, and noticing when you start to feel like you're doing anything out of obligation or because you feel like you have to. Mercury retrograde is always a time where our relationships are in the spotlight, and often because there are matters that we're dealing with and issues at hand. And the one in particular, the March 14th to April 7th one, is the one I wanted to spotlight for you, because that one is one where an arguments or having issues with your partner, it might be better to take the high road, because Aries can be naturally a more volatile sign, and Mercury retrograde in Aries means that you might not be seeing eye to eye or expressing yourself as well as you could. And then we have the September eclipses, and these eclipses fall in the axis line of Virgo and Pisces. And this is an axis line that is really about healing. So it's a lot about your physical health, which I'm sure you'll hear about in other videos, but it's really about healing your heart and the connection between the heart aches and heart breaks and heart expansion, any kind of emotional movement that's happening for you in your love life, the relationship between that and your physical well-being. And so we want to really prioritize self-love and self-care. Also, this is the time, the season right before your birthday, when you're naturally pulled a little bit more inward. So don't be afraid to take it easy in September. Give yourself a break. If you're dating, this might be a time when you want to just turn off Match.com. The lunar eclipse on the 7th is an interesting one because we have Mars moving through your sign. Mars in your sign gets you fired up, and it can be an influence that relates to individuation, even though Mars can fire up our passion and it can boost our libido and our sex drive. But here, it can't really do as much for us in terms of passion because it doesn't have a real outlet. And it has this opposition to Chiron, and Eris is a dwarf planet that relates to progressive discord for progressive change. And Chiron is a planetoid that is ultimately a healing, teaching influence. So we have here any kind of unexpressed wounds or traumas or anything we haven't dealt with, pain points in our relationship that we haven't brought up to the surface. This opposition says that it's coming out and we don't want it to come out sideways. So motivate yourself to talk it out, talk it through, or if pain comes up or things from the past come up, go and get some help for those things so that way they don't just build up and lead to Eris's discord. This is a really healing time for everyone. The solar eclipse on the 21st, this is happening just a day before Libra season and before the equinox. And this is a lunation that shows endings. Look at all those points at the 29th, 28th degrees, and your sign is right there in the middle of it. But there are new beginnings too. Uranus and Pluto and these Aries planets here suggest that you can have a miraculous reconnection with somebody, but you have to establish it as something you desire. You have to take a stand and say, this is what I want. You can't just be a bystander here. You have to identify it. You can't just magical thinking your way through this and hope that things work out for the best. You've got to take action. You've got to make choices. And that can be the hardest thing for a Libra. Also, this is one of those lunations that reminds you how important boundaries are. So really honor your boundaries. Don't give more than you can. Don't allow others' needs and others' frustrations or angers to cloud you from being in tune with your own truth. Then Uranus and Gemini is pretty exciting for us, I have to say. It's like a period of innovation, a period of movement that can feel a little bit like a roller coaster ride. It's exciting times ahead. This is a transit that happens from July 7th to November 8th of 2025. And then Uranus goes back into Taurus for a little while, and then it moves into Gemini on April 25th. This could introduce a period of travel, a period of expansion. And in your relationships, this means that you could actually have some adventures with your current partner or your lover. If you're single, this would be an area that I would prioritize to open up some new relationships. Maybe meeting someone on a plane. Uranus is innovative. And so it is also where you experience the most progress each year. And so wherever Uranus, whatever house it's in your chart, that's where you're going to experience it. In terms of relationships, this signals some exciting new beginnings ahead for this 7-year cycle. It's going to fully start in April of 2026, but we get a little preview this year. So November has some interesting harmonious influences. We've got the Grand Trine on November 17th. We've got some sweet love and relationship transits, even though Mercury is retrograde. Mercury's retrograde in Sagittarius, which is a little bit more benign for you. And so this is if you were going to plan a time to be cozy with your spouse or your partner, or if you want to open your relationship, or if you want to do anything that invites more love in, maybe you're looking at opening up, starting a book club or opening up to new friendships. November helps you open your heart in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming. And for you, the water houses, and so in particular, that Scorpio house, this can also bring new client relationships and new people into your life who could be good network connections. So that's all the middle of November. November 15th, we've got this beautiful Star of David aspect pattern with like all of these puzzle pieces falling into place, clicking together. And so that is really lovely. And we end the year in a more balanced place than when we started the year. The start of the year, we go through all the rocky patches and the tidal waves. And then the end of the year gives us just a little bit of a reprieve before 2026 starts right up with all of those new cycle changes. So Capricorn season is really, Capricorn's not the easiest season for us. It's a time when we can feel overworked or overwhelmed. But this one in particular, I'm giving you permission to sit on the couch, to do some relaxing, maybe take a retreat away to a cabin in the woods somewhere with your love, and really take some time. You've had a couple of intense years, and you deserve a little bit of a grounding before we get into even more change in 2026. So here is your mood board for the year. So we've got some like little banter, some little fighting, like pillow fights with Mars retrograde. We've got a year of boundaries right here. We've got some questions. We don't really have a lot of clear answers, but that's okay. Be comfortable with the questions. It's a hot one. I think the temperatures could be hot. I also think there's some heat with Neptune and Aries, Saturn and Aries. And it's also a year where we're aware of our differences and our polarities, but in a way that allows us to reform our relationships and come together. And here is my contact information. All right, so that is your horoscope for 2025. And I look forward to reading your comments. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Libra, so you guys are going to have a lot of major financial opportunities related to partnerships this year. So let's talk about it, long-term investments as well. So January 11th, you're going to have the North Node entering Pisces in your sixth house of work, health, and daily routines. And so this can look like shifts in your work environment. So some of you might reconsider your work-life balance and really be drawn towards careers that focus on service, health, or wellness. And this shift can really inspire you to focus on long-term, sustainable financial growth by aligning your daily habits with your values. Health-related financial priorities can come up. So investing in health or wellness fields, holistic health services, companies that like glucose monitors or like biotechnology or, Neuralink or organic products. Some of these might capture your attention. Be sure to do thorough research, as Pisces can really blur the lines between idealism and reality in financial decisions. And some of you will really find purpose through service-related work. So this can be new roles. If you're feeling stuck or stagnant in the work that you're doing, you might get more aligned with your desire to help others or contribute to more humanitarian causes. And so while these roles might not be lucrative in some cases, they can really be more fulfilling and lead to long-term financial success here. Then we have Neptune conjunct the North Node in the sixth house, which is where spiritual investments and work can really bloom and blossom and be blessed here. And so you might be magnetically drawn to spiritually fulfilling roles in wellness or creative fields. Some of you might even consider launching a business related to holistic health here, mindfulness or wellness. But avoid overly optimistic expectations. They absolutely can happen, but you don't want to have those expectations. You want to be as practical and grounded with your approach as possible, because there is a risk of deception with investments with Neptune here. Neptune's influence can bring confusion or deception in financial matters, so we want to be careful of any too good to be true offers. Particularly around this time, the markets are likely to be doing quite well in many cases. So again, if there's any work or service related financial ventures, particularly any startups that are new and they just got a bunch of cash but don't really have a lot of backing or security, let's just be wary of anything that's too good to be true. Financially, though, this aspect really encourages you to invest in health, whether that's personally for yourself or professionally as a career. Choosing to spend money on retreats, creating retreats, health programs, or educational resources for long-term financial and personal growth all looks good to me here. Now, Mars is going to move direct towards the end of the month here. And Mars has spent some time here in March of 2023 to May, to where maybe you made some significant work career changes. Maybe you left a job, or you were working very hard and maybe feeling like you had no time at home, or like it was just quite intense. And so Mars is back here again, and he's been here since basically the end of 2024. And so this is about energizing opportunities related to international investment and trade for you guys. And so if you've been considering property investment in a foreign country, this could be a powerful time to take action. From a legal perspective, you might find opportunities for financial growth through legal settlements, publishing, writing, educational pursuits, higher education or specialized training. Going back to school related to your career can really help your earning potential for the long run. And this can boost long distance ventures as well. Investing in any travel related businesses, or investing in your own growth to any global or cross-cultural exchanges. Now, March 14th, we'll have a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo in your 12th house of the subconscious, secrets, and hidden wealth. So hidden financial matters might come to the forefront now, where the eclipse can reveal hidden financial opportunities or resources that were just previously out of reach, and now you'll be able to really discover any old, let's say, family investment or hidden assets, forgotten bank accounts, or figure out any outstanding debts that need resolved that maybe you forgot about or weren't quite clear. This will also help in some cases with debt repayment if you've been struggling with debt, and even just clearing any emotional baggage tied to money. So clearing out the subconscious, maybe listening to subconscious or reading books about, loving money, or, like people say the root of all evil is money, and where did you get that belief from in the first place? So clearing up some of the beliefs that don't really serve you. May 24th, Saturn will enter Aries in the 7th house of partnerships and legal affairs. And so structured business partnerships can look good here. Saturn in your 7th house can highlight the importance of forming structured long-term business partnerships, where you can enter new financial agreements that provide a stable foundation for future growth. You want to be careful, though, with legal and financial decisions here, because they'll take more time and consideration than normal. And in some cases, you might even be involved in legal settlements or long-term joint financial ventures. Saturn really urges you to take a cautious, methodical approach here. Okay. And your commitment to long-term collaboration is key here. Saturn's disciplined energy will make you more discerning about who you partner with, ensuring that any joint ventures that you work on are set up for long-term success. And so take your time, be patient, choose the right people, and make sure they have, some skin in the game and they're serious. June 9th, Jupiter will enter Cancer in their 10th house of career, public image, and reputation. And so Jupiter wants to expand your 10th house of career and public standing. So this could be a time of significant professional growth, where some of you can land a higher paying position or experience a promotion in a leadership role, which can be nice. Or for some cases, this can be you investing in career growth. Feel free to spend some money on that, whether that's investing in skill development, training, travel, career coaching to enhance your professional prospects. If you own a business, maybe you might be publicly recognized for that business on social media, or if you have like a B&B, it might, be on the front page of Airbnb, or new client opportunities that lead in increased revenue. This can be public recognition. Some success here can lead to awards or media attention or new partnerships, which then lead to more money in the bank account for new clients and just increased sales. July 7th, Uranus will enter Gemini in your eighth house of shared resources and investments and debts and taxes and money from markets and inheritances. So, innovation is what Uranus is about, and this can talk about innovative investments. So, are we looking at cryptocurrencies, fintech, Nvidia, new tech stocks? We can be open to new opportunities, but we want to proceed with caution because Uranus can bring volatility. One day the portfolio might be up 200%, the next day it can be down 500. So just be careful for ups and downs with innovative investments, or unexpected changes in joint ventures is another way that this can look. You might experience unexpected sudden shifts in shared resources or investments, such as a windfall in money or unexpected loss in money. So just be prepared for financial surprises by having some financial stability besides what's going on in your eighth house. And for some of you, again, this could be inheritance. And another way of using this energy could just be to manage your debts. So restructuring debts, refinancing, managing inheritance matters, looking for solutions to consolidate or reduce debt can be really key during this Uranus and Gemini transit for several years. And so you'll have the second half of the decade to really work on any debt-related matters. September 7th, full moon eclipse in Pisces here in your sixth of work, health, daily routines. Workplace changes and promotions are possible. Sudden changes in your job or work environment. Maybe it's the physical location. Maybe it's your commute to work. Maybe it's promotion or shift in responsibilities that lead to higher financial rewards in some cases. It can look like improvements in your wellness and health, which can help you work more, or this can just indirectly emphasize the importance of your well-being, and maybe now you're able to spend less money on health issues that were bothering you or help impact your financial stability in that way. Job-related financial growth looks key here, where new opportunities in your career could arise. This could be coworkers if you employ people, leading to long-term financial growth, but it's important to stay grounded here with what's going on in Pisces, not taking on a job that is, going to not be here in the next year, or is just expecting too much from you, or that you end up being like a victim to, or end up kind of being like a savior to as well with the Piscean energy there. It's important to stay grounded. And then the 21st, we'll have a new moon solar eclipse in Virgo in your 12th house of hidden wealth and your subconscious and secrets. This looks like new financial beginnings for some of you, where it can signify a new beginning in financial matters related to hidden wealth or investments. You might uncover long-term financial opportunities that were previously overlooked. Reevaluating financial commitments looks good here, where you can use that analytical Virgoan energy to reassess your financial commitments and investments, reassessing your portfolio. If your portfolio is up again after it's been down, it could be an interesting time to take profits, or identify areas to rotate some of that money into other sectors, or investing in wellness and long-term healthcare ventures that align with your desire for both financial stability and emotional well-being, taking care of yourself with some of the profits that you might have, or some of the cash you have, or want to save up to spend on taking care of you. So what this looks like to me, Libra, is, you can experience great financial opportunities through career growth, partnerships, and innovative investments in 2025. You can check out my 2025 yearly report if you're curious about what stocks and sectors are likely to do well under the energies of 2025, and also based with some real world fundamentals, dynamics behind them, and that analysis as well. The year really emphasizes long-term planning, cautious decision making, and expansion in key areas like career and shared resources. So it's a great year to focus on well-being and career development, all things I talk about in private sessions. And it's a good year to stay open to innovative investment opportunities, particularly in tech and real estate for many of you. So good luck to you. Be well, one love, and peace.
Hey, my gorgeous Libras. It is Kira Sutherland, and I am doing your health astrology for 2025. I've got a great privilege to do this. So, what are we thinking about this year? What's going to happen? I am, part of me when I look at all the transits for you this year, be it you're a Libra rising, Libra sun, Libra moon, I'm like, when I get the feel of the transits, I kind of take this big sigh of relief, right? We've moved on from eclipses, and South Node is moving on out of your sign, although there is one final eclipse happening on a Virgo Libra axis next year, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. There's been a lot happening. We've had, where am I going? We've had Pluto moved out of Capricorn into Aquarius. It has moved back, but it will shift itself along eventually. And, when something is squaring your sign, there is always a lot of adjustment and a bit of friction. And especially with Pluto, and then those eclipses, with Pluto finishing up in Capricorn this year, it brings stuff up for us to deal with. And being square, it's not always about your stuff, but it's still stuff you have to deal with that sometimes takes energy away from you and your health. And then having eclipses in the South Node going through Libra, that's quite draining. If you've had a year last year where you're like, oh, I'm pretty tired, like this is a big year of things being uncovered and me having to deal with them. That was the year. And so 2025, when I check into it, it's like this big sigh of relief. No, not everything's over. Other things are moving into Aries, which are then going to be opposite you. But I think we can really think of last year, 2024, the visual I get when I check into it for Libra is like you were tilling your soil, you were prepping the soil and finding things in the soil to get rid of, old roots, whatever it is, getting the soil prepped and ready for some great planting. And what I want this year, especially in the first half of the year, is to really vision board and decide and to plant the plants you want. The second half of the year will be kind of watching those plants grow and doing some weeding along the way as things like Saturn and Neptune sojourn themselves into Aries. Again, things showing up opposite you. So that's your weeding that's going to go on, and they will take some attention away from you. But yeah, so you've tilled the soil, especially as we start the year with this Mars retrograde for 5 weeks in Leo. That's a, fire to air is okay. So there's this little energy helping you. And I would really like you to take those first, month and a half of the year to not overly push it, but it's your planning time. What plants do I want to grow? And I want you to I'm not specifically talking gardening. I'm talking about what you want to grow in your life, specifically health-wise. What do you want to create? This is Leo. What do you want to create this year for your physical body? And that might involve doing things with other people, but I want you to spend a lot of time thinking about what you need, because we need to give back. Libra needs to give back to themselves to balance the scales so that they can give to others. Libra body rulership is like the lumbar spine, it's the kidneys, and it's all things to do with balance in the body. So hormones, acid alkaline balance, inner ear balance. Yeah. So and being ruled by Venus, which is quite divine, that does also bring in thyroid, metabolism. And so with Mars retroing for those first 5 to 6 weeks, I want you to think about what beauty you want to bring in, Mars to opposite to, my brain's gone with wording, with the Venus rulership, what's of use and what isn't, beauty-wise, but health-wise. How do you want to make some changes? You don't have to initiate all the changes in those first 5 or 6 weeks in a retro. That's not what I'm asking. But I want you to really have a look at what you do want to plant in that soil and grow for yourself, your own energy, and for your health. Because it's a balance year. I think with all the eclipses and the nodes over the last year and a half throwing things out of kilter, I feel like it's going to be easier to find your balance. Making sure you're getting in plenty of healthy, fresh fluids. No, alcohol does not fall on that list, or caffeine, but healthier fluids. So green teas, other beautiful herbal teas that just make you feel like nervous system, digestive teas to just calm the system. Teas are always great for you, herbal teas, because, and again, always check if you're on medications, if any supplement or herb is going to interfere with medication. So check with primary care practitioner. But Libras especially do really well with liquid nutrients, be it beautiful vegetable soups, or if you're not plant-based, having like bone broths. But also getting some of your electrolytes via fluids, making sure your sodium, magnesium, calcium, potassium is, eating healthy foods. You get in a lot of those, I've gone blank again. You get in a lot of those electrolytes, but making sure you're not overabundant and one over others, making sure. But, fluid going through the kidneys, like herbal medicine, I think works incredible via tea, because that's your ruling body part, is the kidneys, which are really the gatekeepers to what stays in your body and what doesn't, besides the liver. And flushing your kidneys with some healthy soups and smoothies and foods and herbal teas is always great. So very alkaline diet for Libra, for that acid alkaline, lots of veggies. You're a temperament that can actually do, some of it is cold and salads, especially in summer, but more stir fries and soups, easy to kind of process and digest. But you're allowed to rest a bit this year. It was a big couple years from transits. The other big things happening for you are when Saturn in May is moving into Aries, which is opposite you. And you think, oh, what's going to go on with that? Are you going to get pulled? I again think it's about finding that balance. Saturn is about boundaries and structures. And so I really think part of your mental health, emotional, nervous system health is going to be supported by having Saturn in that opposite sign. I actually think you're going to be able to lay down some boundaries around how much you want to give energy-wise to others versus keep to yourself and your mental health and physical health. Saturn in Pisces is quincunx to Libra, which is actually harder than the opposition. So as much as you have Saturn coming in there, it's okay. I think it's going to make the scales a little bit easier to balance for you. Yeah. Plus we have Neptune moving into Aries as well. Moving in, moving back. But again, Neptune has for a long time been quincunx to you, which makes it kind of hard to figure out what's going on health-wise and what we're doing for ourselves. So I actually think Neptune, with this Neptune-Saturn thing coming through, it's interesting because, you got this structure of Saturn, but the Neptune kind of more open, more fluid. Neptune is the immune system. Neptune does rule hard to diagnose. So I'm fascinated with what they're going to do together in Aries. But what it says to me for the Libras, your opposite sign Aries rules the adrenals, whereas you have the kidneys. The adrenals sit on top of the kidneys. And again, what I really want you to do this year is look at your energy expenditure. Not just with that Mars retro in Leo, but with things moving into Aries, making sure your energy isn't leaking to others and they're overtaking from you. And yes, I know you feel balanced when they and others are doing okay, but you've had to do a lot of that with the nodes already. You're almost in a resting, just gentle balancing phase. You don't have to do extreme. You don't just adjust with Saturn and then get the feel with Neptune, or intuit with Neptune, how to make the little adjustments that you've done with Saturn. I hope that makes sense. Kind of excited for you, Libras. You know, Pluto moving away from Cardinal as well gives you a bit of a break, takes the pressure off a bit. Yes, it's at the very last bits of Capricorn for a while in 2025. But again, the pressure cooker of that square that you've had for the last long time, 15, 18 years, I can't remember how long. It's like the lid is off the pressure cooker for you, and you kind of have this, your beautiful soup. I don't know why I'm getting so many visuals for you, but you have this beautiful soup that's going to be allowed to like bubble away. And I actually think as Pluto moves into Aquarius, you actually get to take the gas off the stove and see this beautiful thing that you've made over the last decade and a half, and adjust and enjoy what's coming this year. I'm actually, yeah, that's where I'm at for you, my Libras. Lots of fluid. You do need to do some exercise, but be gentle with yourself on it. Find some new things. Really look at that. You're going to have time to look at that axis of how you support others versus yourself. And I really want you to support you first this year. Okay. Awesome. Great talking to you.
Hey Libra, it's Tiffany Harelik, and I'm so glad you're here with us for your 2025 Spiritual Development Forecast. So before we get started, I want you to hop into the description box, click the link for your 2025 horoscope PDF so you can follow along throughout the presentation, but also that you'll have it throughout the year. So while you're doing that, let me weave some numerology into the astrology of the year. 2025 is a 9-year in the numerology. Numerology breaks life down into 9-year cycles. And so this is a year of culmination and completion and endings, which bring about beginnings. So it's a transition year. It's a year of, again, integration. The seeds that you have planted over the last 9 years are fruits that you're harvesting now. And so I want you to consider that there can be like a sense of urgency, like a desire to wrap things up, pay off debts, clear things, make sure everything is exactly where you want it, because you are starting a new cycle the following year. So this is an ending cycle, transformation, changes, yes, absolutely, but also beginnings within endings. So hopefully you had a chance to pull up that PDF. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys so we can get this party started. Again, I'm Tiffany, and one more quick goodie for you is if you'll use the code Stormie 2025, you can get $10 off your digital astrology calendar. So this calendar goes on any device, it goes through any time zone, and it gives you the planetary transits, the lunations, the eclipses, the retrogrades, the fixed star nuances, and all of the astrology that you will want to access right on whatever digital calendar you're already using. So we hope you love it as much as we do, and check it out and use the code Stormie 2025. Okay, Libra, what we're going to do today is I'm going to give you a quick micro lesson in the planets and spiritual development, just a couple of minutes. We'll go into your quarterly breakdown, which you can expect as a Libra sun, moon, rising this quarter, each quarter. And then I'm going to give you your major theme for 2025, which I think you're going to love. I think you're going to love it. I think it's going to be a good year for you, Libra. So planets and spiritual development are a little bit different than mainstream astrology. So I just like to give a quick lesson here. Mercury represents, yes, our mindset, and the way we think about things is everything. So if you are having a challenge with what you're thinking about something, you can change your mindset and everything changes, right? Mercury rules our nervous system. So when our nervous system is in fight, flight, fright, or freeze, the quality of our decisions suffers, right? So we want to work with this and understand that, how am I spending money when I'm in freeze mode? How am I relating to other people when I'm in fright mode? And we want to understand the quality and the lens through which our natal Mercury gives us to understand life and make good decisions for our life, right? Venus shows us how we spend and receive energy. Yes, it's the planet of love. And this also represents your key, your life force energy in terms of how you share and receive your life force energy and your love with other people. Mars represents our spiritual mission statement, why we're here, what we stand for. Jupiter shows us more about our faith. Saturn shows us more about our spiritual discipline. Uranus shows us more about our spiritual network and the group of people that we choose to be around to hold us accountable. Neptune shows us what we need to let go of and dissolve in order to evolve. It's that great yoga teacher in the sky, the mystic. Pluto shows us what secrets and self-sabotage and subconscious thinking is there for us to transform, right? To have a whole new experience with. Chiron is the master healer, the master teacher, and the karmic, healer in your life. The moon shows us more about our intuition, and we were all born wise. You all have psychic abilities. You all have the ability to go straight to your higher power without using any tool or other person, right? So I have a cool product called 40 Days of Spirit. It's an email product, and it takes you on a journey for 40 days with one email a day, and it gives you tools and strategies to understand your unique psychic gifts. So if that is something that you want to explore and develop, you can do it, and that product is great. But the moon gives us that sense of like, how do your spidey senses work? The nodes show us more about, right? The North Node would show us the direction that we're going, what we are eating and digesting and wanting and hungry for and yearning and leaning into and grasping. And then the South Node that's the head of the dragon, right? And then the South Node shows us the tail of the dragon. So what we are eliminating, what we are complete with, what we are done with, what we are letting go of and removing from our lives. So in 2025, Pluto is going to stay the same, but 4 outer planets are changing signs. And that right there tells you the texture of the year is very, very different. So yeah, Neptune, Saturn, Jupiter, and Uranus are all making a jump. And it's mostly, right, spring and early summer. So for you, Libra, I want you to consider relationship sobriety. What do I mean by that? Yes, I have a fun little John Legend quote there for you. But what I want you to think about in terms of relationship sobriety has to do with getting right with yourself. Getting in right relationship with yourself will expand, and then you'll be in right relationship with everybody else in your world, including your higher power. So getting in right relationship with yourself means that you're going to need to be honest about how you are in your life, you know what I mean? And have this moment of self-reflection and integrity and honesty and just living a life that you're really proud of, especially when it comes to the other people that you're sharing your life force energy with. So in January, the nodes are going to shift from Aries Libra, right? That me, we continuum that you're part of, into Virgo Pisces, which is the mental wellness, health, and spiritual wellness continuum. So Mercury and Neptune show us a duality from practical to spiritual, from realistic to fantasy, from material to ethereal, right? And so there's some dualities, but what we're all trying to let go of is the challenging side of Virgo, perfectionistic, overthinking, overly critical, fading. We don't want to fix, argue, defend, or explain. So if you find yourself trying to do those things and justify something, do you realize that you're in a combative posture and not accepting something for what it is, right? There's a time and place for everything, but where can you drop the rope and not overthink it and embrace all of these Piscean themes, right? Compassion, going with the flow, being able, you're great, or you're already great at that, Libra. You're great at going with the flow. You're great at dreaming a big dream. You're great at tapping into your creativity. And so this placement is going to feel good for you. Spiritual healing is involved, and you love that topic. So Libra, for you specifically, I want you to focus on your health and your work environment during this shift. I want you to infuse your routines with more creativity and more flow. And so that might mean restructuring your day to allow space for you to be able to respond to things instead of having like every minute planned out. The South Node, right, in Virgo, I think you're going to feel that shift because it is leaving your sign. So I think you're going to feel like some sense of relief and a lack, like a less intensity, in some capacity. I also want to point out that Saturn is getting really close to Neptune this time of year, and we are going to be tracking and tracing that through the coming years. But Saturn right next to Neptune, Saturn is the riverbanks, Neptune is the river. We need both, right? We need structure and we need flow. We need a bass line, a drum line, and we need rhythm. You know what I mean? And so there's this huge duality, but Neptune, spirituality, becomes very serious business. Saturn, it's like our lives depend on our spirituality, right? Like we have to pay attention to this aspect that maybe people have either ignored or been hurt by or want to heal or want to overcome or are understanding their own spiritual development in a new way. It's a really big deal. Mars will be retrograde as we start out the year. And so for you, Libra, Mars retrograde acts like a mini Venus in the sky. And it also tends to kind of not really know how to access feelings in Cancer. And so there can be some passive aggressive stuff going on out there, very normal during a Mars retrograde. And it's in Cancer, right? The sign of our feelings, our intuition, our mothering, our protective nature. And so there can be some big mood swings, people having these huge internal conflicts, learning how to navigate emotionally. You as a Libra, your challenge is going to be to not get tied up in other people's emotional experiences and try to fix things for them, especially if they haven't asked, right? Or even if they have asked, you can use the tool and say, I believe in you. You've got everything you need to be successful. You've got this. Here's some tools that work for me. Keep going. And you kind of want to put it back on them to explore, but to not allow people to spill on you and to not accidentally absorb what they're putting out there. So you might have some career frustration. You might see some work tension. This is good because later in the year, you're going to have a huge career boost. So allow the frustrations to happen. Allow the intensity to pop up. Allow yourself to feel frustrated, irritable, restless, discontent, all of those things, and work through it, and work through it. Really get all the way through it and look at the long term, not the month that you're in, but the 10-year strategy. So then as Mars goes direct, Venus goes retrograde. Venus retrograde acts like a mini Mars in the sky. Retrograde periods help us reevaluate things. So reevaluate, resolve what love stuff in the sign of Aries and Pisces. So this is an interesting placement, right? Because Mercury is also about to go retrograde right here too. So what can we do? We can reconnect with something that we're in love with. We can reconnect with old friends. We can do heart-to-heart connections. What we don't want to do is make drastic changes to our appearance and or brand and or just kind of like really the way that we normally operate, right? Like we don't want to make big, huge decisions that are life-altering changes when it comes to our romances, our finances, and the way that we present ourselves. So Libra, Venus is your ruling planet. And so this retrograde is a really significant time for you because you're going to be able to reflect on what's working and what's not working. It's just that simple, especially when it comes to health habits and financial habits. And the healthier you get with your own, physical body, mental body, all of that, the better off you're going to be in your relationships. So recalibrating yourself in order to recalibrate your relationships, being in right relationship with yourself. Am I sounding like a broken record? All right, Mercury then goes retrograde shortly thereafter, also in Aries, Pisces. Mercury, I was showing you guys that it has to do with your nervous system and the way that you think and make decisions and the quality of your decisions. So as Mercury goes retrograde here, again, health and relationships are going to be just this continued theme for you all year long, for sure. Health and relationships, big theme. So indecision when it comes to partnerships or what workout routine or how to spend time with who or all of the little indecisions or these micro decisions that we stall and put off, don't worry, that's going to become clear over time. Just try to breathe through it, embrace all of the big feelings that you might be feeling, and look for solutions and clarity to come. Retrogrades give us opportunity to make edits. So course correct. So be willing to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And then this is my behavior going forward, right? Not just the words, but this is my behavior going forward. It might be a time when you reconnect with old flames or old friendships or people that inspire you on your path in some way. You could reconnect with old information, right? Mercury information. You could reread an old book and you're like, oh yeah, that was a good one. And I'm all re-inspired again. Okay, the first quarter is the longest, so bear with me here. We've got 2 eclipses here in the first quarter. The first one is a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. This is a reality check for health and routine, which is a big topic for you this year. It is falling in the sector of your subconscious, the subconscious part of your chart, which we have a tendency to self-sabotage or to build our testimony or to make mistakes that we overcome or to see things that have a redemptive quality in our lives. And so I want you to pay attention to all of those kind of 12th house things, your dreams, your intuition, your spidey senses, the story and the narrative that you are overcoming. Any old patterns, subconscious stuff that has been holding you back from living your best life, right? So something happened back in September of 2023 that started this sequence, and you're getting more information right now, and it will be a full lunar family story will complete in December of 2025 later this year. So we also have a new moon solar eclipse in Aries. I think this is a fascinating time because the solar eclipses are more eclipsy, and it's in Aries and it's a new moon, so it's a very fresh new beginning. But Aries eclipses are fiery, feisty, cayenne pepper, hot. They speed up and then they like get really loud and then quiet down really quickly. This is a reminder for you guys that eclipse moments can happen up to 90 days in advance. So you might have your eclipse moment any point leading up to this March 29th for all of the eclipses, right? So just being aware that your eclipse moment could happen well before. It is in a fire sign. So yes, you want to watch for fire hazards or fire news. You want to be cautious, safety first. For you, right, Aries is the opposite of your sign. And so you are in the sign of partnerships. Aries is the sign of being single-minded, being, focused. This is, again, this fire in you is coming up to heal partnerships and relationships. And so those people that you share life with intimately, but also the right relationship you have with yourself, your higher power, your environment, where you work, all of that, there's going to be sudden shifts going on with the relationship that you have with all of these things. Could be a time when a new relationship begins or an existing one is undergoing a big, huge transformation. You are going to want to embrace change, be like a leaf on a fast moving stream, and realize that this eclipse kicks off a new 2.5-year cycle that will culminate in June of 2027, which is a fascinating year to study. All right, so Neptune is going to move into Aries here at the end of this first quarter. It'll be there through 2039, really long time. Neptune's been in Pisces, right? The age of fantasy and virtual reality and the rise of yoga studios in the West and entertainment and all of these things that Neptune and Pisces represent, the guru, the spiritual side, like that's all good, but it is a big jump from water sign flowy, intuitive Pisces into hot and fiery Aries, right? So that's a big change. Neptune, it dissolves, blends, spiritualizes. Aries starts things. So this is kind of a personal evolution, a personal development when it comes to your spiritual walk. It is I want to give a nod to my friend Celeste Brooks, who helped me think through this Neptune and Aries as fate, Neptune, and Aries, free will. There's the plan, there's the birth chart, and then there's what you want to do with it. My big joke I've been using at the story is I was born with curly hair. I can leave it curly. I can straighten it. I can tie it in a bun. I can braid it. I can wear it under a hat. That's free will, but it's still curly hair, right? So hopefully that story is useful to people. For you, Libra, specifically, your partnerships, your relationships are going through a big change. So as long as you are in right relationship with yourself, which I'll keep reminding you as your spiritual cheerleader over here, I want you to redefine how you are in relationship with you, because that's going to change everything. You know, how are you with yourself? This is a time for honest communication and reassessment of what you need in relationships and what you provide in relationships. Neptune, the challenging side of Neptune is that we can be delusional and create confusion, Neptune. So I want you to avoid idealizing partners and focus on what's real. What are they showing you with their actions, right? What are you showing people with your actions? It's less words and more action, right? Okay, here we go. In the second quarter, you're going to get a work boost. There's going to be a moment for you to shine. So all of these edits we've been making throughout the year thus far, oh, it's going to feel so good this spring and summer. Yep, there's the Dolly Parton quote has been making the rounds anytime I want to talk about work. Yeah, pour yourself a cup of ambition. Saturn is going to move into Aries. So we've got Neptune in Aries. Now Saturn is there. Saturn is the military granddad in the sky with boundaries and borders and disciplines. And Saturn represents fear. It represents our duties, our maturities, where we don't want to grow up, but we have responsibilities. It governs structure, bones, teeth, dental work, things like this. And so Aries, right, self-discovery, trailblazing, also rules the face and head. And so I think we're going to get some new initiatives when it comes to healthcare around migraines, headaches, optometry, elder care, dentistry, chiropractic. Yeah, all those things are going to get a revamp. And for you, Libra, Saturn helps you start a new foundation in a 2.5-year cycle for creating new structures and processes that will help your relationships. So what do we do when we disagree? What do we do when we aren't on the same page with finances? How do we make decisions together? How do we how are we codependent? How are we needing to be a little bit more self-sustaining and just supporting the other one? These are the questions and processes and structures that you're going to want to consider rebuilding. Now, this is a good one. Jupiter moving into Cancer. So Jupiter is, represents our faith. It represents what's possible, what's hopeful, what's optimistic, where things grow. Jupiter is the great magnifying glass in the sky. And so it can magnify things that are going well and things that aren't going so hot. And it has moved from Gemini, where it's been information overload, like a lot of data coming through, into Cancer, which is much more nurturing, laid back, restful, intuitive, compassionate, rules cooking and mothering and the home and the nest. And so we're going to see this a lot of themes with real estate expansion, kitchen renovations, families getting bigger, needing more space, stuff like this. And we're also going to see a huge boost in intuition, which I'm so excited about. Follow your intuition. You were born wise. Jupiter, faith, in Cancer, family. So faith and family are going to be big, big themes for sure. But for you, Libra, this is in your sector of your career and your reputation and what the world needs from you and how you unfold your purpose. So there's a big, huge increase with your spiritual focus within your professional life or your public persona, that person that is out there. You're the one that gives you your reputation. So I want you to find ways to integrate your belief systems into your work. And I want you to turn away from the things that aren't working. I want you to turn away from the things that are just no bueno. And I want you to just not worry about it, because as you act out of integrity with your spiritual belief system in place, you're going to be blessed beyond measure. Huge enhancement of your reputation. And Jupiter is all about success and benevolence and sharing the wins. And so this is good news for you. This is good placement. Mercury retrogrades for a second cycle in Leo. All right, and so for you, this is going to have you're going to have an opportunity to edit and reconsider what's going on with your wishes, dreams, future hopes and goals, your mindset about the future, the friend circles that you're hanging out with. Are they inspiring you? Are they holding you accountable? Your social connections, are they good for you? There might be some misunderstandings or misplaced expectations within friend groups. And so that happens during retrograde seasons, and it's for the purpose of getting clear and getting honest, right? So it's not bad when things go a little haywire. The cosmic delays are blessings in disguise. So have you asked for help from your supernatural support team, right? From your higher power? You might be reestablishing your audience. Who are you talking to? What is your message? Why are you pursuing it, right? Okay, here we go. Now, while the second quarter may have been a little bit more extroverted, the third quarter will be more introverted for you, Libra. This is a season of introspection, self-evaluation, right? For the purpose of right relationship. Uranus is the planet of the Great Awakener. It represents shock and awe. It's the Einstein in the sky. It's this brilliant aha moments. Uranus shakes things up in a big way, and you can't unsee something. It's been in Taurus, body. physical stuff, food, finances, material possessions. It's moving into Gemini, right? Gemini rules our wrists, our hands, our shoulders, our lungs, the way that we communicate and share information with other people. It rules our public school systems and transportation. And so that's why I think we're going to see some really interesting innovation, Uranus, with all of those Gemini themes. And so, of course, the United States has gone to war with Uranus and Gemini. We've seen the first aerial photography with Uranus and Gemini, the Carrington event. So the solar eruptions were happening big time with Uranus and Gemini. We're going to see stuff like that. We're going to see educational reform. We're going to see more people want to, we're going to see, I guess, innovation in how we teach children. All right. And then we're going to see big themes around genetics, innovations with the body parts that Gemini rules, space communication, self-driving cars, extreme weather, all that's going to be a big part of this whole expansive part of the tapestry in the coming years. And what that means for you is that there's a big, huge change, Uranus, radical shifts, rebellion with the way that you see the world. And you are not going to see the world the same way that you saw it before. You might have been born one way and like this is the community that you believe in, and this is exactly who you are. And you might see that you are shifting the way that you think dramatically, shifting the way that you experience other people dramatically. And so I want you to embrace these big, huge, radical changes. What do you want to be free from? And what do you want to be free for, right? These changes that are going on are giving you huge opportunities for personal growth. Not personal, yeah, okay, typo there. So I want you to embrace radical change within your worldview. So there's 2 eclipses in September. The first one is a full moon lunar eclipse. So this is giving us more information about something that kicked off for you in March of 2024. So you might want to work with your astrologer to see what was going on around them. Pisces eclipses tend to be draining, watery, drowsy. We're more tired. So give yourself time and space. This isn't an ideal time to book a lot of really important things. Eclipses have this, tendency to have this breakdown to break through. So whatever is broken, it needs to break so that there can be a new foundation. Pisces is on the mental wellness spectrum. And so I want you to make sure that you are biochemically neutral, that you have the right nutrition, that you're getting enough sleep, that your water is purified. Pisces, when we, in the 2024 Pisces eclipse, we saw water in the news, bridges breaking, mold in houses, pools closing, water boil notices, right? And so this isn't predicting bad news. You're just going to see it, right? You're going to see water news somehow. And so for you, this really puts a huge, strong focus on your health, Libra, and your day-to-day routine, because your day-to-day routine is what creates your health. How you think, what you put in your mind, what you put in your body, right? All of these change your consciousness. It changes the vibrational frequency of your energy. So you're going to have some kind of release, letting go of unhealthy habits, unhealthy patterns when it comes to your day-to-day routine. And you're going to incorporate more space for healing. So that means less on the to-do list, more on just like the focus on routine. Some people were born with a need to do the same routine every day. Some people are designed differently. They need to change it up. Their routines need to be different, but the same elements need to be involved. Okay, the last eclipse of the year is a new moon solar eclipse on September 21st. It kicks off a new 2.5-year cycle that will culminate or complete in 2027, which is a fascinating year in astrology. There's going to be similar themes from the first eclipse of the year. Big reality check for health and routine. What isn't working is going to be evident. The 29th degree, that anoretic degree, that place of frustration where we're even vacillating between decisions even more. I want you to go slow, right? I want you to be in your body. I want you to use your tools. This eclipse is really shining a light on where you have self-sabotaged, where you have secrets, where your redemption story is, what your experience, strength, and hope is when it comes to your spiritual walk. And I want you to use this time to create a deeper connection with yourself and your higher power. So again, right relationship coming back up. Here at the end of the year, This is going to be a time when you are going to connect with groups, and I want you to give love the upper hand. I want you to give love the upper hand within your groups, your social network, the people you surround yourself with, the people you hang out with in the space of meetings, or your churches, your ashrams, your temples, your yoga studios, wherever it is that you're hanging out to have your cup filled spiritually. I want you to remind yourself that we are giving love the upper hand here in this group. So Mercury retrogrades in November through Sag and Scorpio. This helps you revisit things that are in the realm of communication and finances, okay? So I want you to do routine maintenance with your finances. Just plan on it. Do your credit check, update your spreadsheets, like get your stuff balanced. Do the things that you need to do for routine maintenance with your finances. And then do some exploration with your inner world. What do you think about finances? What do you think about provision, right? What does it mean? What did it mean in the past? What does it mean now? What could it mean? Typical Mercury retrograde issues are going to be exacerbated for you with this particular cycle. So delays, confusion, misunderstandings. Try to listen to the heart of the matter. You're really good at this, Libra. And if you have siblings, you might find that you guys are taking a trip down memory lane. Good to look at old pictures, and maybe driving through old neighborhoods, something like this, telling old stories. Okay, your main theme of the year, Libra, is Club Libra. Do you love this idea? What does it mean, Club Libra? You are going to have profound and mighty forces coming to work through you together within a group and network. Many hands make light work. We are more powerful together than on a one-on-one basis. I want you to find inspiration and creativity through your involvement with groups, clubs, the people that you are hanging out with. So I want you to explore new ways to express yourself, new ways to lead, new ways to connect. Maybe you're going to take a service position. Maybe you're going to volunteer more. Maybe it's a paid position. But the idea here is you have a powerful group of people that you're available to be part of, to be uplifted by, and also for you to influence with your energy. Maybe you get your best friends together and you do like a meditation vision circle, or you do something cool. The groups of people, maybe you're leading retreats, maybe you're taking retreats. I don't know, but I want you to embrace the transformative power of collaborative creativity. So some creative force that's wanting to happen through you with a group of other people, this is a big deal for you. It is your power. It is your spiritual transformation. It is your spiritual development. And so who knows what's wanting to happen through you and through your group. But this is what I want you to focus on mainly. Okay, Libra, one more little reminder, use the code STORMIE2025 to get a copy of your digital astrology calendar at a discount, and you'll get all of the astrology right in your pocket wherever you look at your digital calendar. It travels with you through any time zone, and it gives you a little mini forecast of the day. So it's super helpful when you're making decisions, scheduling work stuff. If you enjoy my work, again, I'm Tiffany Harelik. I'd love to stay connected with you. Make sure you get your free horoscope PDF. I'm on YouTube. I have a podcast. I send out a Friday forecast newsletter. I offer spiritual development membership if you want ongoing support with your gifts. I mentioned 40 Days of Spirit, which is an email product that takes you through spiritual development strategies and tools for developing your own psychic abilities. And I do retreats. So in 2024, we went to Tulum and Austin. In 2025, we're doing Santa Fe and Malibu. I hope you can join us. If you'd like me to come to your area, please let me know. My main message for everybody is to love each other. That's what we're called to do. So when all else fails and the astrology is, matching up or helping you create order out of chaos, whatever's happening, just love each other, right? Love yourself, love each other. And so on behalf of the 2025 forecast team, we are so glad you're here. We are wishing you the best prosperous 2025 full of abundance, love, and light. And please stick around throughout the year because we will have more goodies available for you right here. So we love you and namaste.